Okay, hello, I'm Derpy and I have avian flu. Sorry, I'm going to try not to cough down the microphone too much. I'm feeling a bit not good today. I've got a bit of a cough on, got a bit of a sore throat, but we're going to play some Kerbal Space Program. So here we go. Carrying on from a challenge that I got from ShaiQuera. I hope I pronounced that right this time. We have my little space plane. I say my little space plane, it's now absolutely huge. I've been working on, because I'm going to try and get this thing to the moon, or the mun, Kerbal mun. I don't know if you've watched the other two that I've done now. I say other video and a half I've done. It started off with wings like about half the length of this. It's now got a few more engines on it. Hang on. Ah, cough syrup. Thank you, California. Yeah, so we got some more engines, because getting to the moon, do you need more engines? I don't know. I figured I needed to get higher, so I'd put some more engine on it and go quicker. Makes sense in my little birdie brain. So we got some more engines. I had to make the wings longer to fit more engines on, which made everything a lot heavier. I also had to put lots of fuel and stuff in, and you can see across the top of the wings, yeah, there's little struts and stuff. Struts and stuff are good because the wings fall off otherwise. You saw they're flexing around a little bit. They're not too bad once you get it in the air, because it kind of all stiffens itself out, but it does stuff. It stops it falling apart. Yeah, I'm getting there. So yeah, I've got these rockets on the wings. You can probably see the side rockets, side pod things. I'll put some boosters on it as well. You can see them firing there. I'll cut that bit out because it's just a big rocket flying towards the sky. It takes absolutely ages, and it can be a little bit boring if you're watching that. You don't want to watch that. There you go. They're off now because they're empty. I ejected them. Probably ejected them a little bit late, but I figured, well, like less weight's better. So if we eject stuff, if we're going up, we can go faster. So where are we? We're getting there. Look at that. Now hopefully in a second, if I've done this right, some of these engines should turn off, because these are special engines. I think they're called Sabre, something like that. And what they do is they swap over from jet fuel to rocket fuel. So when they get to a certain height and they run out of air, so they can't be jets anymore, they become rockets. So what I've done is some of them will change over to be rockets and stop being jets, and some of them just stop and they're gonna, well, I say they're gonna fall off. I'm gonna eject them because I don't need all of them in space. I'm not planning to get to the moon at like 1,000,000 miles an hour, because I'm hoping I'm going to be able to land there. So they're all off now. And this is the bit where I realise I've done what is now technically known as a Derpy, because I've ejected the other rockets. I say other jets. You see them falling off there, all nice and happy, floating off into the sky, because I'm sort of almost in space, and I'm going quite fast, so everything kind of floats. I say I'm almost in space. I'm not in space. Space starts at like 70 kilometres up in Kerbal Space Program, for anybody who didn't know. Right. Yeah, so what I found was I hadn't actually put any rocket fuel on my space plane, so the whole kind of space thing was just sort of, yeah, a bit of a waste of time. You can see them kicking back in now because I'm going back down, so they're getting air through them. All I did was put jet fuel on. So the little pod, I think this one I've highlighted there on the front, is supposed to be full of rocket fuel. It's actually full of jet fuel, and none of it's been used. So yeah, I've really derped up this time. As you can see, it's going rather too fast on re-entry, as you'd expect when I've got all the engines on, which I should probably turn off, which I forgot to turn off. So not only is it falling to ground, it's accelerating towards the ground, and that would be why most of the wings just fell off, because I'm just that smart. So I think I worked out that and turned the engines off. You can see the little white jet down the bottom. It's got RCS thrusters, which are like rocket control system. I think that's what it is. Sounds right, so we're going with that. And yeah, the wings came off completely. It's going too fast. Everything starts falling apart. That's why I had all those little strutty things on the wings to hold it together. They only work to a certain speed. So by this point, I'm thinking I'm going to kill all my little Kerbals. It looks a lot like I'm going to kill all my little Kerbals. But then I had some sort of divine inspiration-y type stuff. And I thought, because I've got cargo bays on this thing to make it lighter, rather than just having extra fuel, because I don't need tons and tons of fuel. I just need a big shape to get it in the sky. So I opened everything up, and weirdly enough, not only did it slow excuse me, slow my space plane down, but it also really stabilised it. It's weird, like it's got extra wings. And there we go, it becomes a space submarine. Wasn't exactly what I had in mind, but it's a start. And I know it can get back to Kerbal without completely killing all my Kerbals, so that's not too bad. Right, what we're going to do, we're going to go back to the factory floor. We're going to have a little bit of a fiddle with a few bits and pieces, change a few things around, and then we're going to have another go. So we change this fuel pod out. That's just rocket fuel, jet fuel at the moment. We're going to put rocket fuel in there instead, because if I want things to change into rockets, there's no good in having just jet fuel in there, which I've just found, because everything just stops and you fall to ground like a big rock. Or a submarine in that case. So yeah, made sure I got the right one in there. We're going to put fuel pipes on. That's what the yellow things are. You connect them one end to the other and they flow in the direction you connect them. So I've connected those up, so I've got the fuel flowing out in the middle into the engines, which is all nice. It's absolutely beasty. Check out the size of it. With little Kerbals running around. Pretty awesome. Right, let's go and fly this bad boy. Right. Okay, here we go. All the pilots happy in there. Well, for the moment, let's get this thing fired up. Stand on the brakes, which, if you play this game, if you hold B, that's your brakes. Works with air brakes as well. Oh, try not to cough your guts up through the microphone. Fail. Off we go. Right. Now this thing's got a tendency to sort of jitter around on the runway before it catches some speed, so hopefully it's going to go straight. Yep. Yeah, we're looking good. Excellent. And we have liftoff. Brilliant. Let's get the landing gear up. There it goes. Almost looks like I know what I'm doing as well. I mean, it does actually look like I know what I'm doing here, which is quite scary, because I'll be honest with you, I've probably put 5 hours into making this thing fly like this so far. Possibly more. Probably quite a bit more. Right, I think we're about ready to fire off the extra booster rockets. There we go. Get this thing pointed at the moon. Right, let's see how far we get. What we're going to do, okay, because it's got 30, 40, 50 kilometres to climb or something, we're going to skip a bit. We're going to go to the next bit along, where we're in space ejecting stuff. So, magic. Right, we're about the height stuff swaps over, so it should be swapping over to the rockets in a second. And you'll see all the smoke from the jet engines petering out. Yeah, slowly, slowly, slowly. Come on. And there we go, they've swapped over. Check that out. It just does it automatically on its own. And I've ejected the extra ones because we don't need those anymore. They're just extra weight. We're not using that stuff. And we're going to the moon. Finally done it. Finally done it. We're off to the moon. Right, what have we got? 37,000 kilometres. Okay, so we're quite high up. The fuel seems to be going down a bit more rapidly than I was hoping it would. But we don't need to be powered all the way up. So what we're going to do, we can turn it off. We're going to angle the plane, the space plane. Oh, really sorry about that, blimey. I'll take some more California. Right, what we're going to do, you see we're quite high up. This is like our arc. What we're going to do, we're going to angle the space plane. We're going to get the nose down a bit so we can get into orbit around Kerbal to start with. So we've got a nice flat orbit to go from rather than trying to fly straight to the moon. My little thruster at the back's not quite working there, which is a little bit worrying. That's what I'm looking at here. You can see the front one firing, but the back one's not firing. So I might have to move that. It's going to make manoeuvring the space plane really awkward. I should put some on the wings, thinking about it too, so I've got a bit more control. Oh, that sounds really croaky. Right, then we're going to fire the engines off again, try and get into a nice orbit. so we can spin around the planet, and we've run out of fuel. We've run out of fuel. Yep, they're flamed out because I don't have any... Is that oxidizer? Oh man. So, what I did here, I've got jet fuel in the wings, and rocket fuel is a mixture of jet fuel and oxidizer, because in space obviously there's no oxygen, so you need to carry oxidizer with you, which is like liquid oxygen, I'm assuming. And you burn that and it becomes rocket fuel. Only the little poddy thing I've just replaced on the front didn't have enough in it, so I figure I'm going to have to change that. So what we do, we'll have a look at the cockpit. Loads of little buttons and some very petrified looking Kerbals, and I figure we'll try and get these guys out of here, and I shall see you next time when I play Kerbal Space Program. Bye bye.